Hey guys, how are you doing? Abhishek, D-Rush, how are you guys? Can you hear me all right? Hey guys, how are you doing? Abhishek. Good to see you too, my friend. Good to see you too. Hello, hello. How are you, my friend? How are you guys doing in this fine? It's late over there, right? Are you guys in India time? It's past midday over here. Let's continue working on this guy while we wait for more people. Remember, this is a this stream is for you. So if you guys have any questions, if you want me to talk about specific topics, if there's any other things that you want to learn about, let me know, and I'll be happy to jump from one software to the other. 11:45 in the night over there. Yeah, it's a little bit late, right? Yeah, that's why I wanted to do two live streams to make sure that everyone got a chance to meet. It's nice to see you guys finally here. I know you guys watch the videos, but it's not often that we see each other live. I'm thinking about doing this at least once a month. I think it would be nice, right, to have like a live stream once a month. Yesterday we had a good time, so I think it's a good idea. Oh, that's great, man. That's great. Yeah, the portfolio reviews have been really good. That's another one of our series that you guys really like. So that's great. Let's add a little bit more geometry to this guy. Yeah, so the year is about to end. Do you guys celebrate New Year's over there? Over here, we're gonna have a family meeting. My family is coming on Friday, and then we'll have a big party. Happy New Year, my friend. Happy New Year. In advance. Almost there, almost there. Just a couple more days, and and we'll be on the new year. Can you guys believe that it's been 2 years of pandemic? I'm a little bit tired, to be honest. It's really like depressing, right, to be on a lockdown. I mean, at least here in Mexico, we've been pretty much on constant lockdown. We really haven't gone like anywhere. My wife and I, we went to see Spider-Man like 2 or 3 days. No, last week. That was last week. But that's been like our only like date on the whole year. So yeah, I really want this pandemic to end. Hopefully soon. Any tip to lose the fear of sculpting? I always felt fear before start. Yes, you're gonna suck. That's it. You need to suck to be better at it. So the first sculptures that you do, they're gonna be really horrible, and then you're gonna get a little bit less horrible, and then a little bit good, and then great, and then you're gonna be a master. So it takes time. You need to learn to screw up. Like, that's it. That's it. Just don't take it too seriously. Like, understand, no one's expecting you to be a master sculptor from the get-go, like to know every single thing from the very beginning. So it's fine to screw up. Like, grab a project, say, hey, I want to do this, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's it. Like, I think in our society we place too much emphasis on perfection and like getting it right all the time, and that's not the way it works with art. Like, you are gonna screw up, you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna learn from those mistakes. That's the beauty of it. So you need to do it. Just do it. It will suck, and then it will suck a little bit less and less and less until you have something that kind of looks good or kind of works. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I've shown you guys some of my earlier works, and And yeah, it's important to know that no one starts their 3D career knowing everything. There are some people, like we can't deny that there are some people that have a lot of talent and they're really fast, that they can pick up stuff really, really quickly and become like great artists very, very fast. But if you're not one of those guys, I'm not one of those guys. It's perfectly fine. Just take your time and keep on working until you get to the point that you want. I have a story of a friend of mine. I really admire him because he showed me the power of just like determination and pure raw like motivation and strength, because he was really bad at 3D. Well, not really bad, but he was bad at 3D, and he struggled a lot, and he tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and it was very interesting to see, because throughout our school years he started being like really, really not bad but just average, and he was able to outrun and outpace a lot of other artists that were really good. So you've heard about the story about the rabbit and the turtle, right? Like the race. So it was kind of like that. Like he was really slow at first, and there were a lot of very talented artists, but then they dropped off or they lost motivation. They didn't want to continue, and he kept going, and at the end he was one of the best artists because he didn't quit. So it's just a matter of not letting not letting go. Like just keep pushing and understand that there will be a process. Like you will learn, you will suck, but you will grow and you will become a better artist. So that's the kind of thing that you need to take into consideration, right? Like no one is born knowing everything, so you are gonna have to learn. Let's see. Any chance you're able to give some small critique on stuff I've been working on? I've made an arcade cabinet and something is off about it for me. Yeah. How can we do it? Is it on your art station, Ryan? Or can you send me a link or something? I'm not sure if you can post a link here on the chat, but if you can, send me a link and I'll take a look at it. Yeah, I can show you guys. Actually, I was going through my drives like a couple of days ago. This drive, the H drive, I've had this drive for 10 years. Like literally, you can see it, 2011. And I was telling you guys yesterday that I took a course, like an intensive course, back in 2011, and these were my first Zbrush files. And one of the cool things about Zbrush is that they've kept everything consistent. So I can open all of this, guys. So let me show you, for instance, let me show you this guy. This was my first like biking model. Look at this poor guy. Yeah, like this was me. This was me learning like 5 million polygons, like horribly utilized. The topology, of course, sucks. Look at those hands. Like, come on. The feet, like the pants. This was it. This was me. And I was 20 years old or yeah, like 19 years old when I did this. So it's not like I was a kid or anything. I was just bad. Like I didn't know how Zbrush worked. So so yeah. It's part of the process. Let me see if I have another one over here. Like this skull. Yeah, again, just like this was like my first skull. Everyone does a skull when they first begin, and this was my first skull. In the pond, in the Zbrush course that I have here with Nexttut, that we do I think we do a Mexican candy skull, which follows some similar processes. But yeah, it's part of the thing. Like you are gonna suck at first, but you need to suck in order to keep going. Let's see. Yeah, it's fine, Ryan. If you want to share the link, I'll take a look at it. I don't think it's going to take that much away from it. Hi, Vishal. Thank you, thank you. You are the best. You guys are the best because you support the channel and you help us grow. Let's say, Avjit says, I'm a 3D animator and VFX student also doing your Udemy Maya course. What will be starting a newbie salary in 3D industry after 2 years? Okay, so that's a great question. Over here, or there's this site called Glassdoor. I'm not sure if this works like everywhere in the world, but it's a good way to search for salaries, and you can look for like 3D artists. Let's see if we get any hit. And usually you're gonna get like an average. So for instance, here in Mexico, an average like starting salary for an artist is 12,000 pesos. These are pesos, not dollars. So 12,000 pesos, it's like $600 a month, roughly. Which is relatively low, right? Like I'm in a good position right now, so I'm not making this. I'm making a little bit more than this. But yeah, this is like general when you're just out of school. This is roughly a good salary that you can find. Like CGBot, remember I've talked about this company quite a bit. This is where this is like the amount of like this is roughly the estimate, right? So if you're working in LA, like in Los Angeles or in United States, Canada, I believe, or actually we can look at for it. Like let's look for Los Angeles. So there you go, 71K, 71K. Let me just continue here. Yeah, so 71K in the United States. Let's see, maybe in India. Do we have an estimate for you guys? So I'm not sure if this is right because I'm not sure about the currency, but it says 25K earners. I don't know. So this is a good site that you can use to get an estimate. But what we talked about, like those 71K per year, which is about 4,000 per month, that's a good estimate. It really varies because, for instance, the living costs here in Mexico are way lower than in the United States. So one of the cool things about my current job is that a lot of my clients are from the United States and from India in this case, Nexttut, of course. And so I can't afford to have a salary closer to the one that I would have in the United States without having to expend as much money as I would if I was there, right? So yeah, just that's the ballpark estimate. Oh, cool. Yes, great. Oh, you're at Full Sail University. That's great, man. I've heard good things about that one. Yeah, I don't share my old stuff either, Cristiano. I have them here. Like all of these things are here, but I don't share them because well they suck, right? Like here's a couple of Maya. Let me see if we have some renders here. Renders. There we go. So like I did this like environment in Maya. Again, this was 2011, so 10 years ago. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's another character. This one I actually liked. This was like a game door or something. Remember I mentioned the dragon? This was my first dragon. Oh wow, that's a really nice time travel here. Taking a look at the old stuff. So yeah, I mean it's this face I think it was actually not that bad. Like I did the poly modeling thing and then UV mapping and stuff. It's not that bad for like a first phase, but yeah, it's a matter of keep like pushing it and moving it. Let me see if it appeared. No, I think it's what's the word? It might be censoring it or something. Here, do this. What can we do? Or you know what, Ryan? Like try to paste the link, but without like the .com or like so that it doesn't know that it's a link, and I can just fill in the rest of the things that we need. That way I can see it. So instead of I don't know, for instance, like instead of saying reddit.com, write it as like reddit dot and then com, and then I'll just delete like these things right here, and I'll be able to get there. Harsha Reddy says, hi, I'm a character artist. What is the good way to do face modeling from scratch or from base mesh? That's a good question. So we did one last week. I created like a small like base mesh for a head. studying the planes of the head is probably one of the best things that you guys can do. So, like this sort of thing. Whenever I'm doing a character, I always like to start with this sort of like construction first, like a very planar basic shape, and then I grab like the character and I try to create the character that I need from those planes. Using a base mesh is fine, like, and there, well, I mean, yeah, it's fine, but here's my personal opinion. Like, when you're working on a character, it's not the same to start with like this base mesh that has most of the anatomy already solved for you than to start with like this base meshes, right? I would recommend going for this sort of like simplified base meshes, because you're gonna have to do the work and you're gonna learn a little bit more, and it will save you some work and some stuff on the proportion side of things, right? So it is a good option. If you can start from scratch, that's also great. However, I do know that sometimes due to time constraints, well, we can't do from scratch every single time. Like, if you're doing a video game and you need to do like 10 characters, you're not gonna do the 10 characters from scratch. You're probably gonna create a base mesh, and then just keep building up on it. Salary depends on dedication, says Bishal. Yes, dedication is a big chance, or a big like thing, of course. There's also connections. Like, we can't deny that this society, and that's one of the things, it's a little bit more, you know, meta about the whole industry, but there's some people that are not very good artists, but they can sell themselves very well, and they get some very nice positions, and they are like the bosses or the art leads and stuff, and they get more money, even if they're not as talented. That's just how the world works. Is it fair? Probably not, but it's just how it is, right? So it is dedication, it is connections, it is the types of works. Like, I've seen some people, and it blows my mind, like, I've seen some people work on projects, like super easy projects, like Farmville, like something like that, like super cartoon, and they make like a lot of money. And then there's people working on super complex projects like, I don't know, Gears of War and stuff like that, and they don't get as much money because the product and the project also matters quite a bit. A teacher of us, one teacher that I had, he mentioned that he worked on Barbie games for like 4 or 5 years, and he said that was no, it wasn't Barbie games. It was it's a little kids show called Rosita Fresita. I'm not sure the name in English, but it's this girl right here, and he was an animator. He was a 2D animator for this cartoon, and he said that he made an absolutely like insane amount of money when he was working on this project, because the things were selling so much. And then he did some more complex stuff for like Disney and stuff, and he wasn't getting paid as much. So it's so crazy. Like, money and businesses are they're so crazy. Sometimes you're gonna get like very good projects and you're gonna get paid a lot, and sometimes you're not gonna get paid as much, and it's gonna be really difficult. It has happened to me. Like, I've done some projects where they, like, a client asks me, like, hey, I want a render of like a glass, and they'll pay like a lot of money, like $1,000. And I was like, really? Just for a render? Yes. And then there's gonna be another guy who's gonna offer only like $500 for like a complete, fully rig animated character. So it varies, it changes. Kelly, you retracted your message. What is it? What did you want to say? Any questions? Welcome. Don't worry. Don't be ashamed. What are your thoughts on the Zbrush sale? Do you think they will turn into a monthly only thing like Adobe? I mean, it already has, right? Like, Zbrush already has its monthly payment thing. Zbrush subscription. So they already have this one, like $40 a month, the subscription for the thing. I'm scared about this one. I'm scared about the perpetual license, whether they're gonna keep it or not, and I'm scared about the free updates that they keep every time there's a big update, right? Because they've been doing this for like 20 years, and every single time they added a new Zbrush or new like options and tools to Zbrush, it has been free. I'm scared that they're gonna be like, no, now it's only gonna be free for the next year, and after that you're gonna have to pay another $400 to get the new like option, right? Like, they're gonna give you a discount that's it's again part of the corporate world that we can't really fight against. My hope, and I was talking about this yesterday on the other live stream, is that if Blender really wants to do it, I don't think they're gonna be able to like completely compete with Zbrush because Zbrush is such a big software. But if they really push their sculpting tools a little bit more into or closer to what Zbrush can do, I think they could get a nice share of the market there. Yeah, freelance 3D modeling is great, as Abhijit says. Okay, I'm not gonna say your name, man, but he says, hey, I want to ask you, what's the proper workflow for a stylized character? I finished the sculpt on the Ritopo, the model looks kind of bad. Should I reproject it in ZBrush or what? Yes, reprojection is always good, but you need to make sure that you reproject in a proper way. It all depends on the poly count, right? Because if you go like super low, like League of Legends low, then reprojection won't really matter. It's more about the texture work. You can also do the conform thing inside of Maya. I think I've shown that one before. Let's do it. Let's do it real quickly. So let's say this character is finished. Of course, it's not, right? But let's just, for the sake of this example, let's grab this guy, C plugin, decimation master, and let's just do like a quick decimation. Oh, that was the question, Kelly. So Buga says, same concerns here, so I literally just bought the full license. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if they do like some crazy stuff with ZBrush, for instance, that's my personal take right now. Like, if they change ZBrush and they're like, we're not going to be giving any more updates, right now ZBrush is so powerful that you could easily work for the next 10 years with this ZBrush and you won't have to worry about anything because it's so powerful. If they introduce like more like cooler stuff, then yeah, you might want to upgrade and stuff. But right now it's a great software. So what's my take on pirated softwares? Well, that's the what's the word? That's one of the gray areas about the internet, right? Like, I know that companies like Adobe, like Autodesk, like Pixelogic, they're not gonna go against you, right? Like, they're not gonna go and knock on your door and be like, you're under arrest because you're using pirated software. They're not gonna do it. I don't like using pirated softwares because since I'm a teacher and I'm trying to show you guys everything, I need to be a good example, right? So I'm right now in a position where, thanks to the amount of work that I have, I can afford to pay for my licenses and my subscriptions. But when I was a student, like a long time ago, it was difficult. And most of the teachers, most of the students, most of everyone knows that pirating software is one of the things that you might need to do every now and then. My personal take is, as long as you're not profiting from it, do it on your own risk, right? Like, if you're just using it to learn and to understand the software and stuff, okay. I mean, it's still wrong, but it's at least you're not doing you're not profiting from it. The moment you start making money, like selling 3D prints or doing renders and stuff, you should buy a software. And most of the softwares nowadays have a nice way to buy them. Like Maya, which has the indie subscription, which is like 300. No, it's like $150. It's not expensive. It's like really affordable. So I strongly suggest that as long as you're a student, try to get student versions. That's the best thing you can do. Once you're not a student and you're starting your like professional career, try to save a little bit of the money that you get from your work to buy your licenses, and that's gonna it's just better for everyone in the long run. Ricardo says, as you know, I'm almost over with university. What would be the best? What would be a good road to monetize my job? That's a great question. I mean, if you have a good following, if you're streaming, or if there's people or friends near you, and you have like a character or something, making merchandise about it, like hoodies, shirts, like caps, cups, like that kind of stuff, it's a good idea. Marketplace, I haven't done this. I honestly haven't done this, but you can do like Unreal Marketplace or Unity Marketplace or even ArtStation Marketplace. And if you do something that's really good, if you're like, hey, I don't know, like I want to do, I will use the example of barrels, right? Like, I'm gonna do a barrel pack. I'm gonna do like 4 or 5 different kinds of barrels, and I'm gonna sell them. there's a lot of people that sell 3D objects and models, and I know that they make a good money out of this. I had a teacher of mine. He's an entomologist, or I don't think he's an entomologist, but he really likes insects, and he makes like this very like advanced insects, like this sort of stuff, and he sells them for a good amount, as you can see, like $100. And it's just there, like you just do it once. Yes, you're gonna invest some time and have to create something very nice, texture wise and everything. But if anyone needs an ant, like a very nice ant like this one, they'll just buy it, and you have another $100 every now and then. So selling models is not a bad idea. It's actually really good, but you need to make sure that your models are of good quality, right? Like you don't want to be doing this kind of stuff. I mean it's cute, but it's not what we need, right? So yeah, that would be one of my advices, Ricardo. Let's see. What are some things you would recommend I look out for in order to build up good secondary form in Zbrush? Lights and shadows. Here. So secondary form is all about how the light wraps around the different forms of the face. Or the body or everywhere, right? So you need to understand where the highlight is. And that's the kind of thing that you want to look for. So you need to know here. Like understanding that there's this thing, see a shadow there, so that means that the form drops. And then there's light, so that means that the form follows. And understanding this sort of form, this is the kind of stuff that you want to be like adding into your sculpture. See how there's like a little like form there as well, like a teardrop shape. Then here, of course, like this sort of forms, like how the light bounces and flows around your character. That's the kind of thing that that's the secondary form. That's what you want to look for. And I mentioned this yesterday, but there's this book called Anatomy for Sculptors. I strongly recommend that you guys get this book if you want to become a 3D character artist, because there's a lot of like diagrams and stuff. There's two other books that I really like to recommend. I have them over here. Let me go for them. Give me just 1 second. So these two books that I have right here are really cool. This is Born Hogarth's Dynamic Anatomy. Born Hogarth was a comic book artist from the United States, I think. I'm not sure if it's in the United States or England. But he has this like anatomy studies. Really cool. He's a little bit more stylized, I would say. Like his drawing is a little bit more flowy, like bubbly. It's not like... Yeah, it's I compare it to like a Corvette, right? Like there's a lot of curvature to the way he draws, but it's really strong. The form and the way he projects the all of the volumes is really cool. And my personal favorite, it's this guy right here, George Richman, which is another artist. This one's called Richman's Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. And it's a lot of, again, studies about like hands, feet, claw, even muscles, and it's gesture drawing. It's a lot of gesture drawing. Oh my god. Where's this guy from? It's from my old school. Someone drew this. I don't remember who it was. Nice. So yeah, there's a lot of information here about how to draw, and all of this easily translates to sculpture. So to sculpting. So I recommend these two books. You can get them in PDF as well. Again, Born Hogarth's Dynamic Anatomy and George Richman's Drawing from Life. Great additions to your library. Let's see. What's next? What's your thoughts on NFTs in the future? I think they're going to be... we talked about this yesterday. I don't like the way they're being handled right now. Like, I find them a little bit ridiculous that people are paying so high prices for stupid images. And it's not even the image. It's just like the link to the image or something like that. I don't understand them fully. But from what I can say or tell, having a register, like an online register, saying that you own something online on a chain, like on a blockchain, I think that's very valuable. I just don't think it's working with the images thing. I think it will work for other things later on, but I don't think it's the images. So right now I'm not investing or doing anything with NFTs. Buga says, thank you, enjoying the new hard surface on Udemy. Great stuff. Oh, great. Thank you. I'm really proud about that one. Really, really cool course. Kelly Bella says, because my school doesn't give student licenses. Yeah, I mean, again, no one's gonna go to your house and arrest you because you're using a software from unknown sources. There's a lot of people to do it. My only recommendation is do not monetize or make money with those softwares, because that's when you could get into trouble. The ones that do get into trouble, and I'm gonna be honest, like I've been to companies and to studios here in Mexico that have like 70, 80, 100 artists, and they're using all pirated software, and nothing happens to them. It's one of those things that if you want to do it, I mean, go for it, but you know it's wrong and you could get into trouble. So if you can afford not to do it and do it the right way, I think it's a better thing in the long run. There you go. So it seems like Ryan was able to get the Imager link. Let's take a look. Yay! Okay, so quick review. Let's see. I mean, it looks good. I think this looks a little bit too new. Like I would add a little bit of scratches and like just general damage, especially down here. But everything else looks good, man. I like it. I'm a huge fan of Street Fighter as well. Yeah, I think I like it. A little bit of damage. I think a little bit of damage would be good. But other than that, it looks good. Yeah, the bakes are good if it's baked, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I think what makes it look a little bit weird is the fact that this is like an old edition cabinet, and then you have like new artwork on the sides from like Street Fighter 5 or 4. So maybe replacing this with like old school like art might make it look a little bit more cohesive. That would be my general advice. Avjit says, Maya or Blender, which is industry standard and which software does industry needed for the project done? I know both are great, but I was confused. Yeah, so Maya is still considered to be like the industry standard or one of the industry standards. Blender is giving it a really nice fight. Like Blender is becoming a really powerful software, and it has a lot of things. Which one are you gonna be, like, which one do you need to know? I think it will depend. If you want to go for like an indie route, like if you want to work on small studios, on small indie projects, Blender might be a good idea because it's free. If you want to go for the big studios like Disney and Pixar and Star Wars and stuff like that, then definitely Maya. Like you need to learn Maya because most of the tools that they have are based on the Maya architecture. So knowing Maya is gonna open more doors for you on that side of things. Florian asks, have you planned new tutorials for the beginning of 2022? New courses in Maya, ZBrush, and Substance Painter, maybe surprises? Yes, we are working on some of them, and yesterday we got some nice recommendations. People are asking for an anatomy course, animal modeling course, procedural materials, texturing in UVs, UV unwrapping, portfolio for hard surface. So yes, we're working on stuff. We're still polishing things up and making sure that they're the best that they can be, but yes, we are working. Okay, it says also another question. What's a good way to do Ritopo? So, yes, the best way to do Ritopo. And I was gonna do Ritopo here, so let me show you. There's a lot of ways to do Ritopo. I actually was looking at some tools inside of Blender that look very promising because they were doing like very fast Ritopo. Where is it? I don't even remember how I saved it. It's this one, I think. Yes. Okay. So let's say we have this guy, right? And I want to Ritopo this guy. The worst mistake you can do is to do like a little square and then another little square and then another little square and then another little square because it's gonna take forever. So the easiest way is to block in the general shape. So for instance, I know that for an eye, at least I'm gonna need like 4 divisions. Or actually it's 8 divisions. So I'm gonna do like a big square right here. And then we're gonna just like split this in half. And then another, you just add more lines and there we go. So see how faster that was? So for instance, like all of this area, it's just easier to just like go like super wide and then add more squares where you need them. Okay, so that's gonna be like a super common technique whenever you're doing Ritopo. Like you're gonna try to use or cover as much area as possible first, and then once you have the area, and if you need more divisions, then you add more divisions, like let's say like there and there and there and there, and then you just smooth this out, and it's easier because if you do one by one, it's gonna take forever. But here's what I want to show you guys. So someone was mentioning about the low polys and high polys like not matching perfectly, and this is we can see it here. Like this looks very wrong, very bad, right? So here's what we can do. Very quick trick. First, mesh display, soften edge to smooth everything out, and then I'm gonna say mesh smooth to smooth the whole thing, so we have a little bit more topology. And now here's the trick. You're gonna say mesh. We still have the lap surface of the high poly, and you're gonna say mesh conform at 0.1 usually, and hit apply. And what that will do, see how it changed? I'm gonna do it again so you can see. Like look at how like little, but very importantly how things like shift a little bit, right? So now this thing is conforming to the high poly in a very close way, and it's gonna give us a way nicer result, a closer result to our high poly than we would get otherwise. So it is important that after you do your retopology, do a little bit of conform there, not for hard surface. This only works for characters and creatures, because hard surface you really need to hold your edge. But for characters, it's really powerful when you conform so that it really holds the surface a little bit more. So there we go. No, Forster, no, Maya is not that expensive. Here, maybe you didn't know about this one, but there's this Maya Indie, and it's this program that Maya has for indie artists such as myself. As you can see, it's available pretty much everywhere: India, Singapore, Argentina. And the only thing that you need to do or you need to have is you can't earn more than $50,000 a year, which is like $1,000,000 pesos. So I'm not there yet. And if you are on this like specific bracket, you can just like go for it, and it's really affordable. For instance, in my case, it's almost 4K pesos, so it's about $200, and $200 for a full year. If you divide that, so $200 divided by 12, that's $16 a month. It's super affordable. You need to pay it up front, of course, but it's very affordable. So look for Maya Indie if you need to get like the Maya software. It's really it's a nice program. It wasn't available like a couple of years ago for everyone. It was only available for specific countries. But as you can see right now, pretty much everywhere is like you can do it pretty much everywhere. Now, if it's not available in your country, then there's a couple of other things that you might want to look into, because yes, the full Maya version is really expensive. Coin slots? No, I thought that coin slots were looking good, my friend, for the cabinet there. Any tips on making creature designs, unique creature designs? Yes. Modern Nature. So one of our teachers, he's a creature designer, he says that the best designer is Mother Nature, because it's been thousands upon thousands of years of evolution, and there's so many cool things out there that you can use for inspiration, like this guy right here, right? So we're never gonna be able to like develop something as unique as what Mother Nature has done. So a very cool exercise is grab 2 or 3 animals that you think look cool and find a way to combine them. And sometimes not even animals, like if you look for like cool rocks, for instance, right? Like you're gonna find some things that look very nice, and you might find some inspiration in this like forms, shapes, and elements. So for instance, I see this sort of like eyes over here, and I can try and find forms and figures and stuff that will create an interesting element. So cool plants as well. Yeah, so there's very cool plants that you can use as inspiration. Cool fungi, which are like mushrooms and stuff. Like there's so much inspiration in the real world that you can use. Recently, I found this AI generated images as well. So let's see if this works here. I'm not sure. But yeah, like I've seen some no, not this. Like I have an app here on my phone that I downloaded. It's called Wombo Dream. Wombo Dream. Let me see if I can. Like for instance, I'm gonna say carnivore, and then blue. I'm gonna add carnivore blue, and I'm gonna say this like dark fantasy. Let me see if I can show it to you. So you just like prompt the thing into this element, and it will create like random abstract shapes. But then from those shapes, you can use those as inspiration. Yeah, this looks cool. Let this thing finish, and I'll show you. There you go. So let me see if the camera works. Let's go full screen. So see that? It's a little bit difficult to see. Oh. But yeah. So anything that can give you an inspiration and then to create something, that's always good. Now, another thing that's important is if you notice that you are very influenced by certain things, you need to kind of break away from it. So for instance, this guy that I'm doing, I know he looks very Star Wars-y. So if I know that I'm going too much into the Star Wars thing, I need to find a way to kind of break up from there and add other things that I'm gonna make it a little bit more different. Let me go back here. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, the conform trick is really powerful. I strongly recommend it. Thank you. Yeah, my t-shirt is from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Very cool series. And this is an old hoodie that I got at GDC a couple years ago. It was my first GDC. You're welcome, my friend. You are welcome. Cool. So let's keep going with this guy. Let's see where we can get. So yesterday we were talking about like eyes, and I was mentioning that on the outside of the eyes you're gonna have like this like fatty tissue, which is like the upper eyelid, and then on the lower part you're gonna have the lower eyelid. Again, Nalin did a video a couple of years ago. It's here on the channel. If you guys want to learn about like sculpting eyes, that one's really good. He goes really in depth explaining like all of the important parts of it. There we go. And notice how I'm not increasing topology unless necessary. Like that's one of the best advices that I can give to you guys if you're starting in Zbrush. Don't add more resolution unless you definitely need to, okay? Because a very common mistake is that people would like just like subdivide things all the way to like infinity. They will try to get like millions and millions of polygons. I did this. Like, look at this skull. Like, this skull has 6 million polygons, and I'm not even using like half of them. Whereas this guy right here only has 1,000 polygons and 100,000 polygons, and I'm really using every single polygon to define as much of the form as possible. So it's really important that you always utilize as much as possible the polygons that you have. Let's see. Advanced animation. I'll need to check that one out. I'm not an advanced animator. Like, I usually do simple stuff closer to what we have on the animation course that I did. But we can try something like that later on. How do I start to sculpt characters in Zbrush? Well, if you're completely new to Zbrush, then I can recommend our Zbrush course, which is on the Udemy site as well. That one's gonna take you from the. It's gonna teach you everything from the interface to the main tools and stuff. If you already know Zbrush, there's two main ways. You can start with the base mesh, or you can start from scratch, and both of them are gonna be a very nice learning opportunity. So pick whichever you think is gonna benefit you the most, and just go for it. try to pick a simple character at first, like just a basic male or basic female character. I think that would be one of my main advices. And later you can do like more interesting or complex creatures. Swapnanil says, how to sell the first 3D modeling, which types of model are mostly in demand? I've seen environments. Environments are usually what sell the most. So props, any kind of like props, any kind of like a full environment, or like kits, like, I don't know, ruins 3D model, for instance. Like, let's say you do something like this, right? Like, if you create this sort of stuff, where you create like a kit of different like walls, stairs, arches, domes and stuff, like this sort of thing, that's really helpful, because when someone wants to make a game and they're not good at 3D, but they're good at programming, for instance, they're like, okay, I'm gonna buy this kit and there's so many assets here, like all of these building blocks, and I can build anything that I want. So environments, props, that's usually what sells the most. Characters, I've seen some kits, some like character kits that get sold on the platforms, and they do well. But mostly, I think props and environments are a little bit more, like kits like this are usually what sells the most. Trank says, of course I would suggest this BFX for games in Unreal Engine 4 if possible. See, my friend, I would love to do BFX, but that, and I was talking about this yesterday, like, you can't be a master of everything. I completely suck at BFX. Like, I don't even know how to do a fireball. So BFX is one of those things that I've never had time to go into, so I don't know how to do 3D. But we can add, I'm gonna add it on the list, and maybe we can find an instructor that can teach you guys that in the proper way, because personally, again, I don't know BFX. That's not my expertise. It's not my area. Chad Cañotal, that's an interesting last name. He says, hi, what do you think of 3D Studio Max in the present industry? Do you think it's competitive still? Yes, I think it's competitive. It's not as competitive as it used to be. It used to be like a very famous software for video game production even. I know architects still use it quite a bit, but I do know Maya, due to the animation capabilities mainly, has become a little bit more of an industry standard. If you already know 3D Studio Max, I wouldn't drop it. There's still a lot of people or studios that accept people that do 3D Studio Max, because it's like a cousin to Maya, so it's very similar. But yeah, it is there. It's still good. As I was mentioning yesterday on the other live stream, Blender. Try to learn a little bit of Blender on the side, because especially for indie industries, Blender will become a very major force. I'm foreseeing it, because it's been doing a lot of work lately. And Keith says, having a master command only in Zbrush will work in the industry, or do I need to be master in texturing or anything? That's a great question. I would strongly suggest that you know the full pipeline. Being a great sculptor at Zbrush is great, but here's what my teachers used to tell me. So in the production world, you usually have pre-production, and then you have production, and then you have post-production. The 3D work usually lands here in the production side of things. So let's say you have a project that's going to be like 6 months long, okay? So that means that probably there's going to be 1 month for pre-production, 4 months for production, and then 1 month for post-production, right? That's usually like a time frame. Let's say you're doing like a cinematic or something. If you only know how to be a great sculptor, you're only going to be hired in this period of time, like the first 3 weeks of the project, when all of the high polys are being made. And after those 3 weeks are done, they're going to be like, well, thank you. You don't know anything else from the pipeline, so there's nothing you can do for us right now. And if there's no other project that we can use that, then bye-bye. We'll see you on the next project. And that sucks, right? However, if you know modeling, like retopology, then your work could be extended another weeks. And then if you know texturing, you could be extended a couple more weeks. And then if you do know a little bit about like animation and rigging, then your work can be extended a little bit more. And if you know about rendering, then you're pretty much doing like, or working during the whole production pipeline, because you know about all of the stages, right? So that's why we were taught, and I would suggest that you do the same, to know about the whole pipeline, like be able to do a high poly, low poly, retopologize, UV mapping, texturing, shading, And even if you can do a little bit of animation or rigging, that's always helpful, because being a someone that knows a little bit about everything makes you a more valuable artist, and that's easier for, it's going to be easier for you to be employed for a long period of time. So that's why I strongly recommend that. Gulad, hello there, my friend. Hello. Div Jiang says, can we get high texel density in UV space as 0? Yes. Why wouldn't you be able to do that? What do you mean by high UV space? Let me get like a model here. Armor. No. Okay, so let's see. Okay, like the Diwali lamp. You guys remember this guy? So that's the UV for the Diwali lamp. Actually, no, that's not working properly. Let me grab another one. There we go. So we did this like Spartan helmet for one of our classes a couple of weeks ago. And if I were to check this guy right here, and we check the texel resolution that this guy has right now, for a 4K map, we're gonna get 28.7 pixels per unit. That's great. Like 28.7 pixels per unit. It's a really nice amount, because you would need to really zoom in to start seeing like any issues. Now, if you want to have like 100 pixels per unit, then you're gonna need UDIMs. There's no way you're gonna be able to do it. So you're gonna have like 4 UDIM maps like this. Now, if you use procedural textures though, like if you use a tileable texture, and it's just like a generic bronze material or something, you should be able to duplicate this like several times and create a very cool thing. Let me show you, because I do have the file here. And then we're gonna do this in Blender. There we go. So this is a very basic like render scene of the Spartan helmet. Right now it's like on a glass box, as you can see there. Let me go to just shaded texture, and I'm actually gonna delete the glass cage for now. So I was showing my students how to do some refractions and stuff here. So maybe this will render a little bit faster. There we go. So as you can see, the amount of texture that we have right now, it's really good. Like you're not seeing any pixelation on the helmet right now, right? It's looking good. Am I using? Yeah, cycles. Okay, perfect. We have yeah, we have the noise. Okay, so yeah, you can see here the level of detail. Right now, if I go into the shading tab here, and I take a look at the material here, you're gonna see that I'm using this texture coordinate element, and in this texture coordinate, I'm using the UVs, and I'm multiplying the scale by 5. So it's kind of like having my 20 points or per pixel that I had on the UV maps. Instead of having 28, I'm actually having 125 or something, right? And I can go higher. Like I can say, hey, I want this to be 10 times. So what's gonna happen now is this is gonna be super small, and I'm gonna be able to really zoom in on the object, and you're not gonna be able to see the pixelation of the effect because it's a tileable texture. So we're not doing UDIMs, and we're still getting like a super nice effect. What's the only downside? It's a tileable texture, so we don't have specific things for the object, like specific like rust marks or scratch or anything. But we're able to control this in a very nice way. And again, if we lower this a little bit more, then you're gonna see like the texture of the element a little bit more intensely. So it is good. Subnanil, you're welcome. Ratnam says, views on Modbox. I used Modbox when I was at school for like a displacement exercise that we did. I haven't used it in the past like 5 years, so I just think Zbrush is better. That's my view. So it has some strong points. I know for some like texturing and like UDIM things, it's really good. I just don't use it. I don't have it on my pipeline. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. You're welcome, guys. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. Let's see. Florian asks, "Isn't the time to jump to Unreal Engine 5 or it's too early?" You can jump to Unreal Engine 5. Like you can actually download the um, the the um, the engine to play with it. The only problem is that it doesn't support a lot of the things that you might need to deploy a game or a project. We were actually trying to do a project with Unreal Engine 5 and we ran into some issues where certain tools and things were not enabled yet, so we had to jump back to 4.27. However, if you want to start like working on something, they did promise that whatever you do on the early build that we have for Unreal Engine 5 will be able to be ported out to the newest engine, like Unreal Engine 5.1 or something. So yeah, I mean, if you wanna jump into it, go for it. Like the nanite thing is probably one of the most amazing things that I've seen for Unreal Engine. Unfortunately, I don't have a ray tracing card. That's one of my next goals to buy a ray tracing card, but they're super expensive right now, as you guys know. So I don't like here the lighthouse that we're doing. That's on Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, you can definitely jump into it. Aditya, yeah, Lumen is it's the thing that they're using. It looks really nice. Kumar says, "Give some suggestions for making 3D modeling and texturing game-ready portfolios." I think the best thing you can do for game props is have a variety of things. So you want to have like weapons, you want to have like boxes and or chests and stuff like that. You want to have like a sci-fi thing, like a refrigerator and stuff. Environment pieces like this are really good. And if you can combine them into like small little scene, I think that's really cool. So let me show you concept art like post-apocalyptic. So if you are able to do something like this and model every single thing and then showcase each individual thing, I think that's a really strong portfolio. Or like something like this, because there's so many things, and if you can show me that you can model, texture, like assemble and get everything looking nice and cool, then that shows that you know your stuff, and that's really, really powerful. So that would be my suggestion for 3D modeling. Try to find like a little scene that you could do, and then present each object from that scene as a separate asset, and that would be very, very cool. Kumar says, "When I grow up, I want to be Raffaele Grassetti." Yeah, everyone wants to be Raffaele Grassetti. He's what I call a rock star of the industry, right? Like he's one of the best. He's at the top of the artist chain, right? Yeah, go for it. I mean, I always tell my students that you should find your own style as well, because Raphael has a very like Raphael style. It's his style. So if there's certain things about his style that you like, take them and make them your own. Like create it so that it looks like it's something that you made yourself. But yeah, he's a great guy. And he has some cool stuff as well, some tutorials that I recommend. He's not as thorough, like he doesn't show you like step by step like every single part of the process, but as long as you already have some experience, you can get a lot of cool information from his style. He's really good artist. Subnanil asks, "Is scripting important for artists? If it is, I want to know where to start from." I don't think it is, to be honest. It's a completely different like mindset and workflow thing. Like I took some scripting classes. They were part of the curriculum. I took 2 scripting classes, and I created some like scripting tools inside of Maya with like Python and stuff. I don't think it's super necessary to be like a master at scripting, unless you want to be a technical artist or like a TD where you help with the pipelines and stuff. If you want to be an artist, then scripting is not something that you're going to be using as much. But if you find yourself like really drawn towards scripting, then you probably might want to learn about like Python, because it's a very universally applied language, and I know most of the 3D tools like Zbrush and Maya use or can use Python, so that's important. Yeah, project breakdowns are really important, Ryan. That's right. because and the reason why project breakdowns are important is not just because they look cool, it's because it lets people know that you know your stuff. Because a lot of people could do like a photo montage or like just like a render and making it look super amazing, but then you look at the topology or you look at the texture maps or you look at the UVs and they look horrible. So breakdowns are really important so that people know that you know the process and you know the right way to do the process. So yes, they are important. How can you interact me on social media platforms? Okay, so I mean, most of you already know my ArtStation. So I've received some messages through here. You can find me here on ArtStation. But other than that, I don't have as much things, to be honest. I mean, I could share my Facebook, but I don't even check Facebook that much. So my Instagram, what's my Instagram? I've been posting a little bit more on Instagram. So my Instagram is Critical Hit Academy. So you can find me as I think as Critical Hit Academy. You can see the little invisible man that we did. So yeah, I don't post as much, but if you want to follow, then feel free to follow here on Instagram. That's my little studio over here. We're working on the Discord thing because I really want to have a Discord for you guys so that we can interact and have questions and stuff as well. But we're still working on that. Rafa Sousa, no, I don't know him. Oh, I think I've seen his stuff. Yes, yeah, I remember this guy. I saw that guy like a long time ago. There's a lot of great artists in Brazil. I don't know what is it with Brazilians that are really good at modeling as well. But yeah, he looks cool. Rafa Sousa. I've heard about him. I think I've heard about him, but I haven't met him. Some news about Nexttut website. It's coming, and it's looking amazing. But I can't share anything else just yet. Can I share one pattern link which I can't able to create with high detail and stitches on low poly asset set due to texture problems? Yes, if you can share the link. Someone did it with the or the Imager. So here, like if you upload it to Imager, like someone else did here, just get the link and then just send me this little thing right here. This like link right here, and I'll paste it on Imager and take a look at the pattern. Chat says, thanks for answering it. You're welcome. Last question. In character, no, you can ask as many questions as you want. They're free. In character modeling, what do you think to practice first, realistic or stylized? Realistic. I would strongly recommend you master realistic first, and then you break the rules to create stylized characters. So it's kind of like that phrase where they say you need to know the rules first in order to break them, right? So you need to be able to do a realistic character, and then you're gonna be able to stylize it way better. Feliz Año Nuevo, Gordon McCrary. You're welcome. You're welcome. We're almost there. A full year. 2021 gone. Cool. Yeah. I'm really surprised about the newest, like the speed here and on Blender for like the viewport rendering. It's amazing. It's really, really cool. Even though like the full render, it's quite fast. Like this is a 4K render, and look how fast it goes. Very, very cool. I really like the new thing that they added where you can say, hey, only take like 10 seconds, and after 10 seconds it just stops and it'll try to do its best. Like, look at that, super clean. So that's why I'm saying, guys, like, give Blender a shot. It's I've been doing it myself, and I'm not disappointed. It's a really powerful software. Cool. So we're almost at the end of the live stream, guys. Any more questions? Any more questions before we finish this special live stream celebration? Rehab wants a little bit of feedback. Let's see. Behance, Rehab. Have you submitted before for our portfolio reviews? Oh, cool. Cool. This is good, man. Okay, this is photography. Hey, that's nice work. Nice. Okay, the beard here looks a little bit weird, like the layers look a little bit weird. Okay, I can see it's from the concept. Okay. I like that machine. Okay, so this is a short film you're working on. Cool. Yeah, the machine looks good. It looks a little bit dull. Like, it doesn't look as metallic as I would expect. And I think it's because you don't have an HDR. I can see that there's only, like, basic Maya lights or Blender lights here. So I would recommend adding an HDR so that it shows, like, metal a bit more. It looks cool. This one looks very nice. Yeah, I can tell it took you a while to do this guy right here. Very cool. Like, I can definitely see this on a video game or something. Nice. Yeah, this is good, man. Your stuff is good. Keep polishing. Keep working. You have a good night. Good stuff. Good stuff. Check the link. I don't see any link, my friend. You need to do what I mentioned over here, where you remove part of the element. Just leave this part right here, because if it detects that it's a link, I think it erases it. What was the coolest project you worked on? I worked on a very cool project this year. However, it's still under NDA and I can't share it. So unfortunately, I can't say exactly what it was. It's a commercial, and I was fortunate enough to help with a couple of texturing assets and some small modeling. It's a really cool project. I think the commercial is going to look amazing. As soon as I can release or talk about it, I'll let you guys know. But other than that, there's a very famous park here in Mexico, which is called Xcaret. It's in Cancun, and it's this like Mayan. It's not Mayan. Well, it's like a nature park, right? Kind of like a nature park where you get to interact with like animals, and there's like a river, and it's a very cool place. If you guys ever go to Cancun, I strongly recommend you visit Xcaret. It's really nice. And there's a show at the end of the night, where there's like a traditional Mexican folklore dance and stuff. It's this one right here, and there's this floor, and they project stuff on that floor. And we were fortunate enough to work on that. So there's some projections that we did for that show. So it's very impressive, because it's one of the most famous like parks here in Mexico, and being able to work for it was very cool. So I think that's another one of the cool projects that we work here on the studio. Those would be my choices. Cool. Were you able to get the link, my friend, Divjang? If not, let's do this, because we're running out of time, and I need to get going very soon. If you guys ever have a question, my official email is this one. Sometimes I take a little bit longer to answer, because I do get a lot of messages from everyone. So yes, this is send me an email, Divjang. Send me an email. This is my email. Just send me the image, send me the issue that you're having, and I'll do a video for you next week, okay? So that we can check that about the texture resolution. If you guys need anything, this is my email. You can get a hold of me through that specific part. Some tips for sculpting cloth in Zbrush and tips for we need to do Marvelous Designer. I'll add Marvelous Designer on the list of videos that we need to do. Marvelous Designer and cloth sculpting tips. I'll leave that for next week, okay? But we'll talk about cloth sculpting, because one of the best guys is this guy right here, the one that I've talked about before, George Richman. He has a chapter at the end where he talks about the types of folds and stuff that you need to draw and how to like properly like draw them, and we can use this information to sculpt it. But I need to give it another look, study it a little bit more before I teach it to you guys. Okay. So, well, this is it, guys. I'm gonna stop the stream right now. Thank you very much for your participation. I would like to extend our best wishes from the Nexttut team towards you guys. We wish you a very happy new year. We wish you guys have a very nice celebration. And yeah. I'll see you back. Remember, we're gonna have a little bit of a break, so I'll see you back on Monday for our first video of 2022. So make sure to leave a like here on the channel, subscribe, comment, everything helps, and have a good one. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you back on the next one. Bye bye.